What's good, gamers? Welcome back to another Fizzy MTG video. Guys, today we're going to do some non-MTG related, well, I guess kind of related because card game, but like, today we're looking at three of my old, like, this is kind of honestly what started it all in a lot of ways. Like, these are way back in the day. These were decks that I built for Yu-Gi-Oh! A lot of these cards are extremely old and haven't seen the light of day really in quite a while. And we used to put these little Velcro strips inside the deck boxes so that when they closed, you couldn't shake them open. Way back in the disco day. So pretty snazzy. Oh, I might have to make sure I edit this carefully because it, stuffs. But all right, we're going to get my name. We're going to see if we can see any of these. Come on now, focus. There we are. I'm not going to be reading these. I'm just going to go through and show, and you guys can let me know because I don't know too much about Yu-Gi-Oh! Anymore. Like, it's been a while. But these are just the cards that basically made up some of my old decks. And you guys can rate them in the comments below if you guys play Yu-Gi-Oh! Or know anything about it. Like, I will say one thing, though, in some cases, not in most, but like there are a couple cards that I know I have in some of the, probably a couple of these decks that are pretty much unplayable or just are trash. For certain cards, we had like agreed upon like being able to use them without their effects because their effects were trash in some cases. Now, not for most cards. I'm just talking about mostly things that had like 3,500 attack or some crap. Because we're like, oh yeah, if you let me use my broken card power-wise, I'll let you use your broken card power-wise. And we're like, that's fine. That seems fair. Or if we're like, we'll use the good part of the effect we like if you, and I'll let you use the good part of the effect you like. Only with a couple of cards, but still, like that was an old thing that we had done. So yeah, most of these cards are in pretty good condition, but some of these are cards that were given to me by friends that didn't necessarily take care of them as well. So some of them might be kind of jank. I mean, they're in sleeves, but they've been literally sitting like on a shelf for a long time or in a box. So you have, I imagine, wear from play and all that stuff, because we played the heck out of these back in the day. There were days where, we used to have Yu-Gi-Oh! Tournaments with each other, like, constantly. We had the little dual discs and everything. We'd go around and be like, oh, yeah, we're going to, when we go outside to play, we're going to go play Yu-Gi-Oh! With our dual discs. And, using unsleeved cards because the old dual disc couldn't fit sleeved cards. Or we would shove sleeved cards in it anyway. Because, that's what you do when you're a child. We were very small, very young when we played Yu-Gi-Oh! But, at some point. And then we, learned, hey, maybe we don't destroy our cards. But we had a lot of freaking fun playing Yu-Gi-Oh! That's for sure. And I don't dislike Yu-Gi-Oh! Or anything like that. I'd like to learn it, but the rules were so complicated back in the day, and now they're even more complicated. Like, it's just crazy. Yeah. So we never learned how to play it properly. I mean, we tried, but it was always so confusing. That's the first deck. This was one of my OG, this was a deck I would say I played on the regs. Okay, this was in the purple deck box. That means this was probably one of my, at the time, I thought this was my most powerful, well, not my most powerful deck. That's either in black or blue. I don't know. We're going to go with black next and see, because I don't remember, but I know one of these, I was like, this one is, because it's in this deck box, that means it's the most powerful deck that I made. That doesn't necessarily mean that it actually was. That's just, what I thought when I was a child, because I was like, yeah, this is more powerful. And I probably got more wins with it, but again, that doesn't necessarily mean it's more powerful. That just means that I got more wins. I would say that's true in Magic as well in a lot of cases. Sometimes you get a win with a deck that's not the most powerful deck because it's just fun to play the game, and sometimes the cards fall in the right way and you get some cool stuff. Oh, Cosmo Queen, man, I do remember that card. I actually, I don't know if this is one that I got at McDonald's. There was a weird way to get this card back in the day, and I got it and I was so happy. I was like, oh my God, that's how cool is that card? It's so powerful. But yeah. I had a ton of fun. Yeah, this deck saw probably the most play, or the second most play out of all of my built decks, probably, I would say, because just going back through, I'm remembering a lot of like weekends specifically and just evenings and playing Yu-Gi-Oh constantly for hours and days, which is a super fun thing to do with friends. I mean, that's what we did. We got together, we played Yu-Gi-Oh, and just did normal children things. It was great. And all that jazz, and built decks. Man, I will say, I really wish I had got into Magic the way that I am now whenever I was younger, because, oh my God, dude. I mean, I guess it would have been harder to do obviously than it is now, because I didn't have money back then, really. I just had to, I had allowance, but, it'd be like a pack of cards here and there. So, like, it a whole lot different. I wouldn't be able to buy I'll just buy 10,000 cards to start like I did, and just be like, oh, I'll just use that and we'll build all of our decks from those and have a blast. And I'll buy a ton of lands and stuff. But my God, being able to deck build with friends, I remember way back in the day, a friend of mine was like, dude, I need you to help me build a Yu-Gi-Oh deck. And I was like, bro, let me help you. Let me guide you on the path. Let me just show you exactly what you need. And I looked at his deck, and it was either all magic and trap cards or all monsters. And I was like, bro, let me help you out real quick here. This is real simple. You take the cards you like, find some good ones with effects, and then get traps and magic cards in there too, because you need a good blend. Because you need to be able to do stuff besides just play your monsters. Also, all your monsters are way too high star count, so you can't even get them on the field. Too high level. I don't know why I said star count. But yeah, again, I know very little about these decks. It's been years. I know they were super, super fun. I don't know how good they are. Let me know in the comments below if I've stumbled upon some magic in any of these. Yes. Beautiful. Malice Dispersion? I don't know. Yes, I have a Dragon Master Knight in a sleeve, in a pack, and it has a little thing on it. But we all agreed back in the day that we didn't care, because we would put this card on the bottom of the deck pretty much every time, or like in the middle. We didn't care about this card. Plus, we used weird abilities, so again, we didn't care. We all agreed there was no shenanigans, no cheatery. It was just it was a cool card, and everyone was like, "That card's sick. You should definitely put that in your deck." So I did. And yeah, and it's still literally in the pack. Like it came in like this weird, like, cause I guess it's a promo in like a pack that was like semi-sealed, I imagine. It's still in that, so pretty good. It's even got the little wax seal or whatever in the crap that made a dent on the back. Red Eyes Blackjack, that was cool. Oh yeah, this is where you get into like this is where like elemental heroes were happening. This was a fun time in Yu-Gi-Oh, in my opinion. When GX, like, whenever we first got into Yu-Gi-Oh, like, obviously it was in the first season and stuff, I remember being like, I want Yu-Gi-Oh cards. And they were not a thing. They did not make Yu-Gi-Oh cards. The show was a thing, but there was no cards. And then we just, like, randomly, like, it was a store, it was like, they all of a sudden had Yu-Gi-Oh cards. And I was like, oh my God. I got, like, one pack, and I was like, this is the coolest thing ever. I have a card with a picture of a monster on it. And this guy was very fun. I don't necessarily remember if he's actually good. I think his effect was probably one where, like, yeah, we'll agree to be able to use him without worrying about his effect. I could be wrong, though. I can't remember, because we didn't, like, just house rule or not play the cards the way they were intended. We did try to play the cards the way they were intended, but, again, some of it had to just be like, yeah, we want to do this. Let's do it, so. And that's something I feel like is important for a lot of people that people don't realize is, in certain cases, obviously, if you're going competitive or something like that, then you cannot do this. But, like, just for the sake of having fun and learning a card game, there is nothing wrong with house ruling things you don't fully understand whenever you first start until you learn the proper way, and then you implement that as you go. Because it will let you play the game and have fun with friends rather than worry over the ability to not, or, like, the fact that you can't play. And it'll keep you playing and into it rather than, like, giving up because you're like, I don't actually know the full rules, so I'm a failure. I mean, I learned that from Dungeons & Dragons, man. You house rule the heck out of Dungeons & Dragons because you do it to have fun, and you don't worry about the rules as much. But, yeah, there's 3 decks. I kind of thought it would be fun to just kind of go through and look at the cards, show them to you guys, because it's very nostalgic for me, and I really really enjoyed way back in the day, again, playing Yu-Gi-Oh! All the time, building decks. I love building decks, I will say, and you guys can let me know in the comments if I'm wrong on this, but in my opinion, Magic is far superior when it comes to deck building because of the fact that, like, from what I understand, Yu-Gi-Oh! Used to be like good monsters with strong attack and like basic effects and stuff like that and getting effect monsters and all this stuff. Nowadays, Yu-Gi-Oh's like, if you're building a deck, it has to all be like there's like, oh, performer pals. So if you're building a deck, it's got to be full of cards that are like, if it was, I don't know if it's a subtype or whatever, but like performer pal, blah, blah, blah. It was like an archetype or something. And you build that. I mean, yeah, that's cool that there's multiple of them, but some of them are not as well, there and all that kind of stuff, supported, whatever you want to call it. And it's not really about just picking good effects as much as it is. I mean, I guess it is in some of the older stuff, but the newer stuff is more about like assembling a bunch of the same kind of things, at least from what I've heard. Again, correct me if I'm wrong. And Magic is like, I built a squirrel deck, dog. Like, yes, you can build a squirrel deck in Magic. You can build a zombie deck in Magic, an elf deck in Magic, a spider deck. Like, if there's a creature type, then odds are you can build a deck for it, because if the creatures don't have enough, there are things called shapeshifters that are all creature types, and you can find a way to make the shenanigans work. That's going to do it, because the video is about to change. I hope you guys have a great day.